Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I talk about issues that are taking place in our country and around our world. Just to open up your eyeballs and your ears and raise your level of consciousness to the things that are going on around you. We live these busy lives with work, raising kids, grandkids, taking care of the home, and doing the things that we need to do. And sometimes we miss out on some of these national and social media issues that I like to bring to your attention. And previously in some of my videos, I've talked about, the history of Mississippi. And I did a video where there were 215 bodies found in an unmarked shallow cemetery near Jackson, Mississippi, behind a jail, and that has caused an uproar with 215. Then I did a video in about Lexington, Mississippi, where police are arresting citizens of a primarily black city, about 87% black, and they are arresting them for not paying fines, which is a violation of their 14th Amendment. And so that has been in the national spotlight. And now I got one just when I tried to promote supporting our police force, not defunding the police. There are stories that align with people that are upset at the police and want to defund them. And I try to shed positive light on our police and our public safety. And sometimes I have to also, on the other side, bring up some of the negative things that are taking place. And this is a bad cop in Mississippi. And Mississippi has a history of Confederacy and Mississippi burning. Let's go. Mississippi police officer pleads guilty to forcing prisoner to drink his own urine. Michael Christian Green faces up to 1 year in prison after pleading guilty over incident in town of Pearl last December. A Mississippi police officer pleaded guilty on Thursday to a federal misdemeanor charge after authorities accused him of forcing a prisoner to drink his own urine. In court filings, first reported by the Daily Beast, prosecutors for the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Mississippi alleged that the patrol officer Michael Christian Green ordered a prisoner to lick up his own urine after the man urinated in the corner of his holding cell. That's right, lick up his own urine. The incident took place at the Pearl Police Department in Pearl, Mississippi, a town outside Jackson. Everything's near Jackson, the capital, the state's capital, and was captured on security cameras. Mississippi has come under scrutiny in recent years for its short-staffed prisons that create unsafe conditions for inmates. In February, the Department of Justice released a report saying Mississippi maintained basic safety failures and poor living conditions in 3 large correctional facilities in the state. Parchman, the state's penitentiary, has become notorious for being one of the worst prisons in the U.S. According to court documents, Green and other officers were dispatched to a family disturbance call where they arrested a man whom court documents refer to as B.E. on December 23rd. After being placed in a holding cell, B.E. tried to communicate with Officer Green about needing to urinate. After waiting, B.E. went to the back of the cell and urinated in the corner. When Green transferred B.E. to the booking area, he was informed that B.E. had urinated in his holding cell. Green then threatened to beat the effing ass and ordered B.E. to go in there and you're going to lick up that piss. B.E. was returned to the holding cell where Green commanded him to suck it up. Green then started to film B.E. as he got on the floor and licked his own urine, which made him start to gag. Officer Green said, "Don't spit it out." Green ordered B.E., according to the documents, "Lick that S up. Drink your effing piss." When B.E. was allowed to leave the holding cell, he repeatedly vomited in a garbage can. He was eventually transferred to a detention center in Brandon, Mississippi. Although court documents did not mention race, Green is white, and Pearl spokesperson said the man he arrested is Latino. Green has since lost his job and been charged with deprivation of civil rights under the color of law. He remains free on bond until his sentencing in May and could face up to a year in prison and a $10,000 fine. Lawyers for Green did not immediately respond to a request for comment. At a court appearance on Thursday, Green, who has a large cross tattooed on his arm and the word blessed, how hypocritical is that, tattooed on the other, stood calmly before a federal magistrate judge and did not dispute any of the accusations read aloud by a federal prosecutor. When Judge Andrew Harris asked how Green was pleading on the charge of deprivation of civil rights, he responded, "Guilty, sir." The mayor of Pearl, Jack Whitham, held a news conference earlier Thursday and condemned Green's brutality against a person in detention. "I don't understand how you treat someone like that," Wyndham said. The city of Pearl said in a statement on Thursday that officials learned about the disturbing event during the Christmas weekend and opened an investigation. Using independent attorneys, Wyndham said Green resigned on the 27th of December, 2023. The proper thing to do was to take the gentleman to the restroom and not to do anything of this magnitude and violate his civil rights, Wyndham said. There's bad seeds in everything. And just when you try to support your law enforcement comrades or individuals, and public safety is a real issue throughout our entire country, there is civil unrest. Young kids are going around causing all kind of harm. There's tons of gun violence. There's tons of opioid issues. There's tons of mental health issues. There's tons of homelessness. And to have a cop that did this to a detainee tells me a few things. One, he's done this before. Two, we have this race dynamic again. And you have the ultimate question of, would he have done this to a white detainee? Many times you have the white superior officer committing these kinds of civil rights violations to people of color, Latino and black folks. And it keeps this barrier and this gap between interracial relations and dynamics for us to move forward in a positive way. And it keeps this gap between civilians of color trusting law enforcement individuals. And when you have something like this, this is such an egregious abomination of violating this gentleman's humanity, BE, that you are left with no choice but to fire this guy. And he was so arrogant and egregious. Did he forget that there are cameras inside the jails? And not only were there cameras, he filmed it himself. That's where you know, and you have this propensity with white officers, way more than black officers or Latino officers, where they think they are above the fray and above the law, or they are the law and they can do whatever they want to. That may have been okay in the 50s, 40s, 60s in the state of Mississippi. But for that to happen now in 2024, he must be living, that Officer Green must be living in a bubble. Mississippi is still having a heavy abundance and a heavy menacity of racial, immoral turpitude that is taking place with many of its citizens of color. How is that still taking place in today's time? All of these things that are taking place like this, and it hits social media, national media, it affects your tourism. It affects your marketing. It affects your convention events. It affects people wanting to move to your state. Remember, Mississippi was part of the Confederacy, and even though those Jim Crow laws are technically supposed to not be in effect, there's still a subservient underbelly of emotional fervency that racism at a heavy level is still existing, and it needs to stop. Tell me what you think. about Officer Green doing this to this gentleman. This is the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth.